Jack Lambert is, as they've said, Dracula in cleats.
Visually, the fact that he has no teeth is meaningful.
If you had to draw a monster, you know, it would be Jack Lambert.
He seemed to be like the person that I always associate as like the scariest member of Pittsburgh's team.
Tight end left! Tight end off! That'll cool your ass off.
The most defining moment in my life, Roy Girella misses the kick, right? Cliff Harris coming over from the Cowboys. And then all of a sudden, Jack Lambert picks him up, throws him to the ground, wants him out of the game for taunting Roy Girella, right? From that moment on, you watch him in that game, he goes insane.
Inside handoff to Pearson, and it is he popped.
That willpower, you gotta have the will to wanna win. They had no idea the effect that had on me as a young kid.
Bo Jackson was a mythical figure to probably a lot of people my age. Probably the coolest player to watch.
Bo, I mean, larger than life again. And then you had this big brute, Bosworth. Sort of got exposed by our Bo Jackson.
From the 2, here's Bo. And here goes Bo for the touchdown. He and Bosworth one-on-one, and Jackson just jumps him into the end zone.
I think it was just for, who's the biggest, the baddest, and the toughest. Bo was.
Not just the Nike campaign with Bo Knows, but it was the baseball with the KC Royals, and he lived up to the hype.
Especially when he was with the Raiders back in them Tecmo Bowl days, He was just somebody that did things that we never saw before.
Seems superhuman. Absolutely seems superhuman. Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
I've never seen anybody more hyped than him at the beginning of a game.
Everybody watching tonight. So I tell you what, if you can't find energy tonight, you're in the wrong business.
Of course, his introduction, the way he would come out, but then his impact on the team and on the locker room and the intensity that he would bring, nothing like it.
Woohoo! 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 Only I can stop the pain. Only I can stop the rain. Get off the field! Get off the field! You can't hurt this! I'm a machine, jerk! You carry my jump!
And down he goes! Wow!
I told you, this is my house! This is my house! This is a man's game! This is a man's game! Fire! It's a wrap!
Coach McKay was very smart.
Well, we didn't block him, but we made up for it by not tackling. We will attempt to come back next Sunday in Tampa Stadium in front of our own crowd. We've now proven we can't play on the road or in front of our own crowd. So we would like to have a neutral site.
Quick-witted.
We were unaggressive, we did out-hustle, and we were uninspired.
Hey, what's wrong with playing Mon in the game? He tackles. Huh? We got all these old pros. Nobody tackles.
Somebody said, what do you think of your team's execution? He said, I think that's a good idea.
Well, these guys are almost gutless, and the ones that aren't that are brainless.
Get out there, you idiot!
All the funny things that you hear from him or about him are true.
Well, the reason I had a 5-year plan, I had a 5-year contract. See, I'd have had a 6-year plan if I had a 6-year contract or a 3-year plan.
I had some of the greatest laughs I've ever had in my life with Coach McKay.
Listen, what we should do is go down and get their champagne.
Neither do, but we'll drink our beer.
Mark Gastineau, number 99, was a freak athlete, held the single sack record for a long time. In an era when big personalities were not accepted, he stood out and really went there in the biggest media market in the world.
He had a propensity to get in front of the camera, and no matter what it took.
I'm really frustrated that I'm not playing ball today. It almost makes me want to climb walls.
He was easily the fastest big man that I played against. The only thing about his success that I found a bit annoying was this goofy-looking dance that he would do. He took the time to humiliate the blockers.
Gastineau goes into his celebration. And something like this is bound to happen. You knew it had to happen.
Good, I'll tell you, they went after him. He's still doing it, though. That didn't calm him down.
And then he had a fan following that was unbelievable.
His sack dance for the New York Sack Exchange was exactly what the Jets needed at that time. It got the whole crowd so fired up.
He was the kind of guy that would show up on magazines, was dating actresses. He was a bigger-than-life character. Long before you had Deion Sanders and all sorts of big personalities, and is very memorable for a lot of people.
This is the way you go after him. You're frothing from the mouth. You say, get him, get him. But the object was kill. Kill him.
I knew he was a Hall of Famer. I knew what a great football player he was. But I think character would probably be a way to put it. He was a unique kind of guy. The first thing you do is show you that finger.
And look at this little finger. What's his little pinky?
Oh, my God.
Do you see that little son of a gun?
Well, what's it doing?
It was a real experience to walk through the Philadelphia airport with Chuck Bednarik, because everybody recognized him. And they'd all say, hey, Chuck, tell me about that. Tell me about the time you laid out Frank Gifford. Tell me that story. And Chuck would say, I'm tired of telling that story. All right, well, here's how it went.
We linebackers dream about those kind of shots. It was like a Mack truck hitting a Volkswagen, and the ball went in the air, and I saw Chuck Weber fall on it, and I said, this effing game is over.
And I remember one time he said, lean in. Come on. You can still smell Gifford right here.
I was always sort of thinking past football. You know, I wanted to go into acting.
Tom, ever since I've known you, you've always been very low-key, very cool, very laid back. Are you really serious about all this Hollywood stuff?
Oh, no, Jane, it's a mere myth.
Anytime you were bored, you found Thomas and just took a seat.
I'm pretty close to probably the first guy to do self-promotion and branding when it was taboo. I decided they're gonna want to talk to me.
I'm gonna slam this over the goalpost for the Orange Crush after this game.
Get Tony over here, will you?
Nah, man, I'm over here. I know. No, you get it. I'm celebrating. You go over there and talk to him.
Whether he was talking a little too much or not enough. If he wasn't talking enough, we were concerned.
We're the world champion! World champion of the world! We're the champion of the world!
Right there, huh?
I was terrified of Mean Joe Greene. He was just a nasty, nasty lineman.
Just remember Joe as being a good football player and not really mean.
Personal foul. They're going to hit Joe Greene with another quick 15.
There's the legendary game with the Browns where he wanted to take on the entire team.
It was unintentional. It was just a reaction.
I just loved football.
Hey, Cleveland, how you like us now?
A legendary lineman who scares everyone. And then I'm watching the Super Bowl, and there's a commercial.
Mr. Greene?
Yeah.
Want my Coke?
And a kid is standing there.
It's okay, you can have it.
With a terrified look in his eye because you didn't want to mess with Mean Joe Greene. And for the first time in my life, I saw Joe Greene smile.
Hey, kid.
Throw the jersey to him and say, here, kid, catch. I'll never forget it. Everybody wanted to be that kid.
Roll one. Terry Bradshaw. Did it actually go in here?
What? Hop, hop.
I could do 2 hours on Terry Bradshaw and what makes him great. I think he's a giving, big personality that wants everybody around him to be great, and he's willing to be the butt of the joke if it makes better TV.
This, because in my first playoff game, I about tinkled down my britches leg, I'm telling you.
Terry Bradshaw has an amazing sense of humor, and you can judge someone's character by their sense of humor. Terry, if an earthworm was a superhero, you'd be its father.
You got off to a slow start this year. Why?
Well, alcohol has played a big part.
You
got him playing the huddle. Swan, let's go a hook. John say, Brad, I got him on a deep curl, 50 yards. Going deep. Let's go deep.
Terry made a statement. You can lose with me, but you can't win without me. Which proved to be very true.
The Pittsburgh Steelers are the champions for the 4th time. And Bradshaw comes to the sideline with his arms up in the air.
He plays that whole, I'm just a dumb guy. It's the biggest act of all time. He's a very smart guy. And he was in Cannonball Run, for God's sake.
Terry Bradshaw's a great guy, and he looks like someone who enters a door at a haunted house.
Big dogs are in the house!
John Randle put on this war paint. It was Braveheart, dude. It was like, hike, freedom!
Night Rider! Regulator! Mount up!
John wore war paint. He threatened you on every play. He threatened you, he threatened your family.
I'll kick your whole family's ass!
But it was all in good fun.
Barry! 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 I can't get no love, Barry! Come on, Steve Young! I can smell you, Stevie! J.J. Stokes! You cousin of J.J. Walker?
You would hear him talking through your cadence. He's conversating with the offensive line, and our guys are not paying attention.
Look at that, look at that. That's time for me to get out of y'all ass. Red Rover, let them come on over.
He started talking to him. Sometimes it made him mad, pissed him off. They got Trent Dilfer kicked out of a game.
Dilfer goes after John Randle.
Blow to the head, number 12, he's ejected.
I would say he's probably number 1 on my list, the way that he acted.
Yes, I will not. He's 9, man. That feels good.